Hello, we are back here on the beautiful map of Coda, and we've got our two winners from the first best of threes of this series. We have up in the top left-hand corner of this map, it is from Crazy Lifestyle, Rain.
And in the bottom right corner, our Zerg player representing Frey and the crazy vampire gorilla. This is Alopex.
Both of them sending out scout. Yeah, I don't know. You could. It depends where you want to stress. Who knows? Alopex, Alopex. Maybe like Alope was taken, so he was like Alopex. I don't know. Who knows? So we got a forge down for Rain. It's scouted immediately. So that's cool. And yeah, so the drone comes on down to the natural base. Being all cool, it will attempt to block that location for as long as he can, I guess.
I mean, pool is halfway done for Alopex, so he's going to be able to deal with that. I'm not sure if he threw down the pool. It was a normally timed pool anyways. It was like 15. So not like, oh, it's super crazy. 15 pool, 15 hatch, going to be the decision. And Forge, fast expand, no cannon rush.
Yeah.
I guess, are we going back to like Frost? Is that what we're going to do? Where like In Control is playing and... Okay, no, he's heading down to the low ground. He gets his full scout off in the main. He's piecing out of the main. Okay. He's legitimately just Forge fast expanding.
I guess he is. Maybe he was looking for the opportunity to do something more than that, but obviously he is sending the other probe down to like the bottom corner yet again. But there's Lings already on the way out here. And the cannon is still about 30 seconds away from completion. So he'll have to do a quick response and block this off once he does see them. So hopefully this probe does not build something in the bottom left. Okay, there we go. But there's still a opening here. The Lings will come up and start going to town. They didn't realize that there was a hole there, I guess.
So it's going to be all right for Rain. And the weird thing is, the thing that's throwing me off the most is this is not a one-base play. He's actually taken, maybe it's a fake Nexus. He thinks he's playing Zerg, and he's like, I'm going to get a Nexus for more larvae. But no, that's not actually how this works. There's a finish off of that wall, and that probe from earlier, not quite able to do anything just yet. It's being spotted by an Overlord. I'm assuming these Lings are going to come over here and clean it up. There we go. It will eventually be going down. Eventually. Probably.
Someday.
Someday. In the future.
Yeah. There's just Lings just barely faster than a worker. And often a probe can make it all the way home. But I think he took a little too much initial damage.
Oh!
Yeah.
All right, we're coming down to it.
It's the corners. You lose it on the corners. It's a shame.
Oh, there we go. Finally, the epic journey of that probe has come to a conclusion.
And
now,
unsurprisingly, Alopex taking a third base here. Obviously, seeing the Forge fast expand, knowing that even the Cybercore was a little later than he would have wanted, he's got no worries for the next little bit.
It would have to be an extremely awkward, like, Protoss pressure to go off of the Forge fast expand like this.
Yeah.
Of course, having to kind of make that awkward wall off, rebuilding the pylon. Slight setbacks there for Rain. And, oh, he doesn't get the Overlord. It goes up to the high ground for just a moment there. It needs to make sure that it stays there, at least for a little bit longer. And you mentioned that third base. We're seeing lots of drones on the way, and of course, no Ling speed. Now, double gases have been taken at the natural, and they're fully saturated, but he's kind of just banking up that gas for a little while.
Yeah. Yeah, no move towards lair or anything yet on Alopex's side. He's going to take a peek again with these Lings, see what's at the top of the ramp.
He does decide to, again, negate Ling's speed, which is what we saw in, I think it was the game on Coda. I don't remember what map number it was, but he, again, or no, I guess that was actually Echo. And he ended up going for some burrow play, ended up going for some roaches, and then into a big Hydra swell, for those of you who missed it. But for now, he's looking for that 3-base play. He's looking for lots of drones. He's going to be pushing up towards 60 drones and that 3-base saturation.
Yeah, that's around where he wants to be. The lair is about halfway done now. Finally getting speed added on, as it is, of course, a lovely, useful thing. Taking 2 gases at his 3rd base. Still none taken in the main itself. Now there he grabs one. And throwing down spores just in case in each mineral line.
Protoss moving up to 8 gateways. We'll have to keep an eye on the Warp Prism as well, because we saw the attempt at some Warp Prism shenanigans from Rain in the previous series. Of course, that was against Terran. A little bit different maps, but still, Warp Prism's very, very useful. And the Roach Warren, I mean, it's on the way, and the Evo Chamber as well. Potentially some +1 Roach timing or something like that in the future. Yeah,
he is carrying a single probe there, so probably looking to get a pylon placed somewhere in there is where it shall be. Picking up the sentries. Will he go for that sentry ramp block to try and keep the enemy out? May, and he's headed towards that location. Now 7 roaches are being built in the main, though, of Alopex, so they are going to be trapped in there with him once they do pop out. Warping coming through, and it's all sentries.
Wow, this is a lot of sentries. He's going to have a fair amount of force field energy. He kind of whips it on the ramp, lets a couple of Lings in there, and of course these roaches now on top of the sentries. There's no Warp Prism micro at all to kind of save those sentries. All right. Yep. Did that even accomplish anything?
No,
he didn't lose much.
Yeah, he didn't lose a ton, but yeah, he obviously wanted to do a lot more with that. Bad timing with just the 7 roaches popping out of there. Obviously, you want to keep most of the army out. That's the entire point. But then an overwhelming force pops in. I'm not sure about the warp in of 4 sentries either. Usually, then you warp in something else, not just more sentries. So, yeah, interesting.
At the natural of Rain, he had to kill a pylon to get out of his natural, and then, of course, that supply blocked him, and he also had a proxy pylon out of the map, which got killed. Just an adorable sort of pattern there. And now, I mean, he's got a little bit of free supply, but he may end up getting supply blocked in a couple of seconds. Nope, there's an additional pylon going down. We'll have to see if it gets sniped. Spire going to be finishing up relatively soon, but that big flood of Lings, 32, is going to be very important in trying to deal with that higher sentry count.
Yeah, he does have a lot of force fields available, certainly 10 sentries that are there, but there is only 1 immortal, with the second one just coming out now, unfortunately delayed because of that supply block that you mentioned. And we'll see how on the ball he is once these forces do come in.
Ooh, nice in the middle of the map.
Initially to keep the main force out.
And the wraparound with the extra force field trying to kind of lock away these roaches. No recall will be activated. I don't actually know if the Mothership Core doesn't quite have the energy. And these roaches are going to be taking a bit of damage, but once he gets these 3 immortals behind a wall of force fields, he should be able to hold this. It depends on if the force fields are good or if any Protoss units are trapped on the outside.
Yeah, with 4 immortals here now, roaches will go down very, very quickly. And they will have to back out with the Ling support there anymore. The Warp Prism over on the other side, facilitating the building of many pylons, and then we'll drop in 4 zealots, but there are spine crawlers everywhere here, and a spore. Ooh. That was not a good place for them, unfortunately, and they will die quite quickly.
A little bit of an awkward attack there as it was made. 11 mutas presently on the way, but guess what? There's a big, nice 11 muta flock already out on the map. Oh, roaches are actually going to be on top of these sentries. Can they target any of them down? For now, they're mostly just dealing with the zealots, which is not quite ideal. If they could have cleaned up those sentries, it would have been nice. However, the sentries did expend a fair bit of energy, and there is going to be the Mutaflock moving in. 10 probes have already gone down, and with no immediate answer to going to be, pretty soon, like nearly 25, almost 30 mutas once these additional 5 or 7 get finished up. This is going to be quite the force to contend with.
Yeah, it's an overwhelming number. Protoss, I think, realizing, no, I can't stop that. I don't have. He had very few stalkers, and just going for the base race. It's like his only option.
Photon Overcharge back home going to be buying maybe a little bit of time. As you mentioned, the base race, well, it's going to be difficult against a 4-base Zerg when all of Kronos is contained in just that little 2-base corner. And hey, you know what? Might as well start up a couple of Phoenixes as well. Sentries going to be eating away at the spine crawlers as they did buy a bit of time. However, of course, a huge amount of money and supply is being dropped into those mutas, which means there's not much back at home, so it's full-on base race mode.
Yep, Natural does go down here. Force Field trying to keep those drones on the low ground, but it's actually going to slow him down from going up the ramp and allow these 5 spine crawlers to finish.
Which is going to be quite nice. A bit of defense on the high ground for Alopex, and of course the spread out of those 4 bases is going to be nice as well. The hatchery starting in the Nexus starting in the top right corner of the map will help keep Rain hidden and in the dark away from Alopex. He's got 1 probe there as well. Might as well start mining when he can. Roach Warren goes down in this Protoss army. Of course, it's got a fair bit of DPS with all of the Zealots and Immortals mixed in, so it's going to be able to tear through what buildings it can, but it gets caught out by the Stalkers, and there are no Stalkers there. It's caught out by the Mutalists. I think I said it get caught out by the Stalkers, which is not true.
He got caught without Stalkers is the reality of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Game number 2, we are on Terraform, as I mentioned previously, and we're kicking it in the bottom right corner of said map with our purple Zerg player, who did indeed win our game number 1. Can he continue that trend and close this series out with a quick 2-0? We'll find out. This is Alopex, representing Frey.
And his opponent up here down 1-0. He is representing Team Crazy Lifestyle. It is our Protoss player, Rain. And looking to go just straight up Nexus first here, I think. But Nexus first with a pylon block on the other side. So pretty expensive. He may cancel this, of course, but...
Hopefully.
Let's see.
Okay, there we go.
Does cancel out. But again, I think we're going to get in potentially some trouble. I mentioned how wide this area is into the natural base, and the spawning pool is done. I can't see him having enough money to build a wall here. Not in time. It's pretty wide, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, the advantage being for Rain is presently there's just the 2 Lings. So 2 Lings, even if they do get in, not going to be the biggest thing in the world to deal with. Of course, if he starts adding on more and more Lings, which it looks like he won't, as it looks like Alopex wants a quick 3rd base. Of course, it was 15 pool, 15 hatch. So pretty economic focus, pretty strong standard. But with this quick 3rd, I guess no real aggression, which in a way does favor Rain with that Nexus first. Or at least it's not bad for him.
Yeah, it lets him get away with this when this was something that could have very easily been punished quite severely. But yeah, he did not opt to do that. Instead, tries to take the economic advantage with the 3rd hatchery, and that's going to work out as well, not just as well, because pretty much I think 6 Lings could have just won, but it will still work out for him.
We get to see ourselves a bit of a macro game on Terraform. The last time we saw this map was just a few moments ago. It wasn't all that long, but it was a PvT. Rain was featured in that particular match, and boy, was it weird.
Yes.
As we had proxy production facilities, Dark Templar, and in the end, I do believe our Terran player ended up winning it. Yes, he did. So maybe Rain has something else planned. Maybe he was, hoping to get a PVZ on this map, and he's going to be able to show us some crazy variant of a Nexus first. Maybe.
Should be possible. The Lings running underneath the mothership core after first escaping it.
Why not? Donate a free Lings to the Help Rain Win charity.
Exactly. It's a good cause. Gas just now being taken by Alopex at his natural base, and we once again have a proxy pylon going down for Rain between these little grass areas on the bottom of the map. See what he decides to put there, if that's just a straight up proxy, and he looks like that may just be a straight up warp in point. Yes, he does not add a building to that.
Straight up proxy is fine with me. We got more and more drones being added on for Alopex, but it's a different story for Rain. 3 additional gateways going to be going on, and of course they're going to be finishing up shortly after gateway or warp gate research finishes up. And I'm not sure how many Zerg units are actually going to be on the map as we, continue to drone further and further towards that 66 for 3-base saturation.
Yeah, and he doesn't have speed yet. The Roach Warren is not finished yet, and he's not aware of this, as far as I know. And a 7 gate against a Zerg like this is pretty strong. It can be, or an 8 gate, sorry, against this would be quite brutal.
There's definitely a lot of opportunities for them. Now. Yeah, lots of zealots
to zone out that overlord, which is good.
Ooh.
And Lings, I think, get an idea something's going on, but 4 zealots are already warped in, and without speed, there's not going to be anything they could do to get to that pylon.
It does present a bit of a problem for Alopex. Additional stalkers being warped in. 1 sentry will get surrounded, cleaned up pretty well. No, actually, zealots are going to be body blocking for that, and the 1 force field kind of awkward enough, but will do the job. This Roach Warren in an exposed position. There's already 12 roaches on the way, which is good for Alopex. He'll have a bit of a heftier amount of DPS to deal with these units, but a couple of zealots getting caught a bit out of position, and this Protoss army is kind of caught unawares, but it does regroup, and there's an additional warp in. This is still a lot of DPS.
Yeah, this is the version that he's used on this is a fairly low gas version as well. He's only gone for the 1 gas, so his options are limited after a few warp ins.
For now, zealots are doing just fine. Yeah, they're tanking a lot. They're cleaning up quite a few of the Ling. Drone's going to be trying to mineral lock on top of these stalkers. A couple of them will go down, but now this is a good amount of roaches in this warp, and will it actually be enough? The Queen's cleaning up the mothership core, going to be a critical point, but now with 4 additional zealots warping in, these stalkers can have a bit more of a body block, a bit more of a defender to kind of deal with them, but nice control on those roaches, pulling the weakened ones back away from the actual ranged damage of the Protoss army, and this looks like it's cleaned up. GG! Alopex takes it 2-0 against the aggressive Rain, who just isn't solid enough to take down Alopex.
Thanks for watching the video. Please subscribe to support the ASL by hitting the button now.